Welcome to Marketing Recap, the weekly roundtable that gives you an inside peek into the latest news from the world of digital marketing and what it means for your business to help you stay ahead of the curve. Co-hosted by Cynthia Johnson of Rank Lab, Blake Jamieson of BlakeJamieson.com, and BJ Smith from The Busy Marketer. Ready to join the conversation? Let's get to today's headlines. Welcome to Marketing Recap. In this episode, we're talking about rumors of Google Plus's split up, ads on Tinder, and what this all means for your business. If you're watching us live on the Google Plus Hangout or on YouTube, we want to hear from you, so join our live Twitter chat using the hashtag MRCap. We want questions, comments. We want to share all that stuff with the group tonight. So jump on in the chat right now. It's hashtag MRCap. So let's go around the room and introduce our panel tonight, our roundtable. And recently back from a conference, we've got Cynthia Johnson, the social media girl of Rank Lab. How you doing, Cynthia?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. How was the show? What show did you go to?
So it was SMX West in San Jose. It was great. I won an iPhone 6, and I don't usually win.
Nice.
Yeah, that was exciting. That was really exciting. Actually, I have to say, we landed, and we did this test. We were going to get an Airbnb, and then they were like, we actually double booked it, so we don't have anything for you.
Oh, no.
We stayed in a hotel, so it started off like pretty crazy, but the event was great. That tech museum, if anyone ever gets to San Jose, I definitely suggest. But it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. We also have with us tonight Mr. Blake Jamieson of the Pool Supply World and Arch Digital Agency, our resident Facebook ads expert. How's it going there, Blake?
Good, thank you. And Tinder hacker.
And Tinder hacker, which is going to be very important for tonight.
Yep. Yeah, I'm solid.
Well, anything going on in your world this week?
It's just been a busy week at the office, but looking forward to the weekend. So, all good.
Cool. Well, I have to continue my trend of talking about the weather. Just because you guys are, Phoenix and in California there. This morning when I got up, it was beautiful. It was about 70 degrees at 6:30 in the morning. It's snowing right now. Snow. I don't know what's going on. That's why I have on the hoodie and everything tonight. It's a little bit crazy, but that's all right. Yeah, it's crazy. What do we do? Spring is around the corner. We got a taste of it yesterday and today, and I'm totally ready for it. So hopefully we'll be done with this snow stuff here pretty soon, but get back to normal southern weather here.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm BJ Smith. I'm an e-commerce marketing coach at thebusymarketer.com, host of the Busy Marketer podcast. And again, if you didn't know, we have Marketing Recap is also a podcast. We are tweeting live. We are doing the live hangout, but we have a hangout, a podcast that you can go check out and join us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you want to find it, the easy way to do it is go to marketingrecap.com/iTunes or marketingrecap.com/Stitcher. It'll take you right there. Before we jump into our first story, I want to do a little commentary on some social media stuff. So I was kind of playing around. I was about ready to engage everybody out there who's in the hashtag MRCap Army, because when I went to the grocery store today to grab some stuff for food and for dinner tonight, and I made the mistake of leaving my backpack unzipped, and my dog, my sweet little dog, went in there and she pulled out my running sunglasses. And if you guys can see, she did a great job of chewing off the nose piece and chewing off like part of the ear. And so I've been very upset about this all afternoon. So what do I do? You know, being a marketer, I went and I looked up. This is Riders Eyewear. So I went and looked up Riders on Twitter, and I sent them a tweet with a picture of my glasses and said, this is what happened. Do you guys have replacement parts? And I was fully expecting to get all you guys to go, hey, help BJ out, help him with some sunglasses or some sunglasses parts. And just before we went live, let me pull up my notifications here. Just before we went live, I had a tweet back from Writers Eyewear, and it was kind of interesting, and it's probably one of the better ways to handle social media. Now, I wish they said, sure, give me your address and we'll send you a new pair of glasses, but they said, at BJ Smith's strategy, our nose/earpieces are unusually delicious. Please email customer care at writerseyewear.com. So they did give me a way to connect with somebody else and hopefully get some new glasses or get some parts replaced, because I love these glasses. They help me see the black ice when I'm running in weather like this. So anyway, enough distraction. Let's start getting into our news.
I can't believe you're running black ice. Like, if it's kind of windy out, I'm like, no, I'll stay home.
Yeah, well, see, yeah, I hate running on a treadmill. I can't do it. I think 30, maybe not even 30 minutes. Yeah, a 3-mile run is the farthest I've ever been able to go on a treadmill. And so I would rather get out when it's cold than get out when it's hot. But yeah, if you have polarized sunglasses, little factoid for you, everybody out there, when you have polarized sunglasses, it cuts down on glare. So the pavement, the road looks a little bit darker, and you can't really tell that it's ice. So running in non-polarized glasses helps. And plus, I mean, these are like, I just love these things. They're like the right tint and everything. I can go running on a trail in the woods, and they're not so dark that I can't see like the roots and everything around me. They're like perfect. So I've been moping around all afternoon since the things got chewed up. Anyway, let's talk a little bit of marketing news from this week. So Google Plus, you know. They say, in one of the things that I heard from Jay today, Jay Bear has his own daily show. He put out something one day, not too long ago, saying that when you declare something dead, or if you follow anybody that declares something dead, then you need to stop following them because they don't know what they're talking about. Never declare anything dead. And this week, lots of people declared Google Plus dead after trying to read between the lines of a post on Google Plus. Cynthia is going to kind of shed the light on what happened, what this is all about, and what the truth is.
Yes. So every article is like Google Plus is dead. They're splitting into two things. They've got photos, and then they've got streams, and what's happening to Hangouts, and everything's just imploding. They failed. And oddly enough, this announcement was made by, is he like the new CEO, right? Is that?
Is the product manager for streams
on Google Plus, he makes this announcement. But a lovely little website called Fandroid has shed some light by actually getting a quote from Google Plus's head engineer. And he said that Photos and Streams is the internal name that was given to Google+. And Hangouts product was already living, is a product on its own. So Hangouts is already living as a separate entity that is on Google+. And then Photos, it's more about being the editing and the actual like logging and storing of your images. But there's little to no actual user interface change at all. So it is not dead. It has actually always been Photos and Streams, technically, or just Streams, now Photos and Streams. And I've only been able to find this one article, and I've tweeted out right now. And I would just like to give a shout out to the author here, because good for you, you know. Joe Fedua. Tweeted him too. Joe is on top of it. He has let 5 people up to this point know, and we're gonna help to make sure that his message gets out to everybody. Google Plus is not dead.
We're spreading the word. So it's like if internally we call this like the most best awesome show ever, right? And if we did a tweet or a Google Plus something out there and said, hey, we're so excited for this next version of this the best awesome show, whatever, I just made it up. And everybody said, oh my God, they stopped Marketing Recap. Marketing Recap is dead because now they're doing this most awesome show. I'm like, no, it's the same show. That's just what we call it ourselves, right?
Right. And anybody who's done any type of developing at all knows that there are, internal names given to lots of different things, and mostly because people don't, the average person, which there are a lot of users on Google Plus that don't work in web marketing at all, won't understand that. And then things like a quote on a Google Plus post turns into mass media of like the death of Google Plus. So you're right.
Well, I think that although a lot of people kind of jumped the gun and made some assumptions, it's not like it's the first time that Google's killed a social product.
Right.
They had the Picasso was for the photos, and then Google Buzz was their social network, and I think there was even something before Google Buzz. So they do keep retiring social products, or at least they have done it in the past. So
yes, I definitely agree with you on that. In fact, there's a website, it's like the Google Graveyard, I think, where you can go look at all of the dead Google products.
that's cool.
Yeah, I'll send that too. That's really fun, and you'll realize that is true.
Well, and I think part of that goes back to Google's philosophy of always developing. I think they've kind of backed off on this a little bit, but they used to have this rule where 20% of the time they let engineers, developers work on their own projects. Make up something for themselves, and this is where a lot of Google products like Maps and things comes from. And some of those products survive, some of them don't, and that's probably one of the reasons why they have a high number of products in that graveyard. Now there are some pretty major failures, like Blake's talking about with Buzz and things like that. But and it's amazing to me how many people just automatically jumped on that. I mean, I'm looking at the Verge article right now. The headline is, and this is the one that I added into the Marketing Recap, so I'm guilty of propagating the the rumor, but the title of this article from The Verge is Google Plus officially splits into photos and streams. And it's very misleading when you look at it like that.
Yeah, and I think it is a value. I think it's maybe the way it went about it, because there is value in the fact that there's a split for some people, but for the average user, there's no. I mean, you would never know the difference.
I have to admit that there was a brief moment there where I kind of breathed a sigh of relief, because I know that I don't give Google Plus as much attention as it deserves personally and with my business. So I was like, oh, at least that's one more thing that's kind of hanging over my head that I don't feel like I have to worry about. But no, I still need to step up that Google Plus game. All right. So now that we have officially debunked the myth that Google Plus is here, I won't say it's here to stay. Just like I'm not going to call something dead, I'm not going to say that's it. Now I did actually call something dead earlier this summer, and that was when I announced that Google authorship was dead. So, and I felt pretty confident in that call, though. And that was like the week before Jay Baer made that announcement. Don't call anything dead. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was right on that one. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about our next subject. So Blake mentioned in the intro he's the Tinder hacker, and for those of you that don't know, Blake did an experiment about a year ago, wasn't it, Blake? And I'll let you tell people a little bit more about it. But he got into Tinder and he made some adjustments of his own, did some special hacking of his own, and then wrote up about it on Medium. By the way, I published my first Medium article today. But he wrote about it on Medium. It got picked up by some great news sources like, what was it, Adweek? Was it Adweek?
Mm-hmm.
And a few other pretty notable sources. So Blake is our resident Tinder man. And so first I'll let him tell you guys a little bit about his Tinder hacking story and his tinderhacks.com. And then you could talk to us a little bit about the forthcoming Tinder ads.
Sure. As you said, BJ, about a year ago, I moved from California to Arizona, where I live now, and I didn't really know many people beyond just a handful of coworkers. So I decided to use Tinder to meet some cool people. But I know that as a guy on Tinder, it is really easy to get kind of lost in the mix. And so I decided to take a little bit of a content marketing angle. And essentially, I did a Photoshop overlay on my pictures that made it look like I was endorsed by Tinder and their match of the day for anybody that was seeing me. And so then I took a bunch of screenshots and collected data and published that in the Medium article that you were talking about, and that ended up getting picked up by Adweek, and then that led on to a bunch more press. And I started collecting email addresses pretty quickly after that. Product, or rather article experiment or whatever launched, just saying, hey, I might do a follow-up thing. And the email list grew so quickly that I knew that I had to do something. So I created an ebook called Tinder Hacks that is basically best practices for guys on Tinder and kind of little sneaky tricks that you can do either to save time while using Tinder or to increase the chances that you're going to get a message back. Yeah. So, and that's at tinderhacks.com, which is really cool.
Yep, I just tweeted out that link, so everybody go check it out.
Oh, nice. So as far as the advertising, so Tinder's been talking about, either alluding to or directly talking about opening up some advertising and starting to monetize. So for those of you, I guess, that don't know, just in case, Tinder is a mobile app that is like a dating app, and it helps you meet people that are nearby you. And then you can see if you have mutual friends, and you can basically click like on someone, and then if they click like on you, then you guys can message each other and meet up or whatever. So when I first moved to LA, which now was two and a half years ago, and first started playing around with Tinder, I actually saw some native advertising where they were working with some television shows. There's a show called Suits, which I actually watched or got hooked on because of Tinder. So what they did was they did a really native approach where they took one of the female main characters from the show, and then they made her basically a fake Tinder profile. But it was all pictures of this actress who was very good looking, and wrote a little bio saying, I'm in Suits, you should check it out. And then as soon as you match with the person, it was, I got like an automated message basically that says, hey, I don't have time to talk right now, but I hope you watch my show, here's a link. So at the time when I actually saw that, I thought it was just a sneaky marketer that had built a little program and was advertising a television show. I didn't know that Tinder was involved. And then I saw the founder, Sean Rad, speak at like a fireside chat in LA, and he said that that wasn't the only TV show they worked with, and they had a handful of them, and it was intentional, and they were testing out advertising or monetization. So I thought that was a really cool, like, native way to advertise. And now with the announcement today saying, they're going to open up they're building an ad product or an ad unit, and they said, let me find the Recode article. They're looking at having customers like Facebook or Twitter to advertise on Tinder. So this is really interesting to me because what I like about Facebook advertising is that it's accessible to everyone, and whether you have a budget of $5 a day or $5,000 a day, you can reach some people on Facebook. So when a company like Tinder, which already is huge, and they're doing millions and millions of swipes and users and logins, and time logged each day is insane. They have a lot of attention. They kind of got to skip the playing with the small fish. So they're going straight to the biggest guys. And I thought it was interesting that it mentions Facebook because you actually need a Facebook account to set up a Tinder account. So it's not like they're going to find the few people left on Earth that are on Tinder but don't have Facebook, because those don't exist.
That's how they're going to keep the millennials the younger millennials hanging out on Facebook is if you want to get on Tinder, you have to still use your Facebook account, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, I think that if if a small business owner or an individual like myself were trying to advertise or get attention from Tinder, I think there are things you can do that are outside of being an enterprise brand and buying really probably really expensive advertising. Um, and it's really like kind of what I did with the first experiment of just making yourself stand out. If you stand out, then you'll get attention, and if you stand out enough, then someone will write about how much you stood out, and then you'll stand out more.
One of the things I think is kind of interesting about the opportunity to advertise inside of Tinder is that since Tinder is location based, it may really open up some good local use cases. So, like some people mentioned bars or restaurants, flower shops, things like what is all the stuff that's related to dating? I mean, yes, we can go national, we can talk about the contraceptive brands and things like that, but you know, um, if there is a bar that is a good kind of a quiet place, a good place to go for a first date, or a coffee shop or someplace like that, it would be a pretty interesting way to advertise to some of these folks. I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically related to the dating scene, but I think a lot of local businesses, hopefully, if they're actually going to incorporate the local part of it, will benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, I think that's a great fit. I just don't know with the ads that they're rolling out if it's going to support small local businesses. Something that I thought that's kind of in the same direction, although not a small business, but I think a good fit would be like Uber, because obviously, if you're going on dates, you want to grab an Uber and to get to and from your date so that you are, safely getting there.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good fit, and that's definitely a similar targeting group. They're people that have smartphones that are app savvy. That seems to me like a no-brainer. So that would be the one that I would be least surprised to see a big advertising campaign for.
Yeah.
And also, I saw on Twitter, Jane, one of our listeners, asked how they were making money until now. And the short answer is they weren't. They were building a user base for the past 2012, so 3 years. They did a little bit of advertising, like I mentioned, just in the LA area for those movies. And then right now they're also testing a premium version of their app where they charge a monthly subscription fee. That's not in the US right now. That's just in select countries.
Yeah, from what I understand with the subscription fee, they're testing out different price points. So they're going anywhere from like 99 cents a month to, which would be equivalent of US dollars, 99 cents a month to like $20 a month or something like that. It seems, I think the rumors are saying that it's probably going to land somewhere around $9.99 a month. But you get some interesting features like the ability to skip those ads. So, I think a lot of the folks who are planning to do the advertising are going to be kind of watching this to see, are people going to lead with this freemium model? Are they going to lean to keeping the free and dealing with the ads, or are they going to, foot the $10 a month? I mean, when you look at the cost of other dating sites, I think $9.99 is probably a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question that goes with. I heard that they're charging more for people over the age of 30.
Yeah. So that's like the most commonly talked about thing in terms of the premium. So from what I understand, that's true, but I think that what they're doing is they're testing a bunch of different price points for a bunch of different age groups, and I'm speculating that the use case where in a certain country it was twice as expensive if you're over 30 versus if you're under 30, I think has gotten probably blown out of proportion. I can't imagine them keeping that for a long time. Another thing is, like, we don't really know what their demographic breakdown is of how many people are under 30, how many are over, and maybe part of it is they're trying to build a product that's geared for 20 to 29-year-olds, and that's their best, most engaged demographic, and so they want to make it cheapest for them, and then build products around their wants and needs versus the 30 plus, and to kind of keep those people at bay, maybe they charge more. I don't know.
Speaking for the old people, I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
I'm married, though, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, even with the premium version, where it is released, there's still a free version you can use. You just get a limited amount of swipes or matches per day. And another thing that's interesting is that apparently is not a fixed amount. It's not like 100 swipes. It depends on factors they won't tell you.
I wonder how much of that deals with the population of the area. Because you think about, if you're in LA County, you're going to have way more potential for matches than if you were in some, rural town that's, 20,000 people.
Right.
That's just a guess, anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what's that?
There's only one way to find out. I can jump on right now and figure it out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, well, I think it's interesting that they're moving to a paid model from a business standpoint for my Tinder hack stuff, because if I don't really care if Tinder gets less users, if that also means that each of these users are more committed in spending their own money. I imagine that if somebody's already spending money just to be on Tinder, they might be willing to kick me a few bucks to help them do better at it.
Something
Right.
else. We were talking about how businesses will use it and what are some of the opportunities for those businesses. Pizza Hut was one that was trying to get in there and actually work the system. So it was against the policies, but they went in there on their own. They created their own accounts through, I don't know exactly how many of them there were, because they're location based, but that is a perfect case. I mean, they apparently did well with it. So they created these accounts. People swipe through. They see Pizza Hut. Oh, let's go get some pizza.
Right.
I mean, that even though they got banned or those accounts got deleted because of the terms of service, I think they kind of made their own use case for it.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yep, they were Tinder hacking their own way. Business style. All right. You guys have anything else you want to add to the Tinder love?
No, not particularly. Let's see. I'm just scanning through Twitter to make sure we don't have any unanswered questions about it.
There was one about breaking even.
How long will it take till we get to the break even?
Excellent question, but I have no idea. I don't know what their budget looks like.
That was from Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the fact that they're an extremely big like in terms of usage numbers. It's not really a matter of breaking even at this point. They're ahead because they could sell their company at any time and get a lot of money, unless they pull a dig. Right, was it dig.com that ended up getting scrapped for the domain name for like 10 grand? Should have sold in its heyday.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tinder's not going anywhere. They're not struggling at all. IAC, who's the majority stakeholder, owns Match.com and OkCupid, so they really have a monopoly on the dating scene.
That's true. Oh, and speaking of which, I want to clear up something that, it annoys me when I see these in articles, and now that I have a platform, I want to talk about it for just a second. But they happen to mention that Sean Rad, who was one of the co-founders of Tinder, they keep saying he was pushed out as CEO of Tinder, and I don't know the exact circumstances, but being a business owner and having researched the way a lot of investment companies work, whether it's angel investors or the bigger investment firms, places like IAC coming in and buying it. Um, what a lot of folks don't understand is that when somebody founds a company, they usually have fairly intimate knowledge of the idea of the company, but it doesn't take very long for them to kind of reach a point where they've hit the max of their skill set. And it doesn't mean that they've done something wrong. It doesn't mean that they're not good at their job. It just means that they've taken the company as far as they can. Now it's time to bring in another person to with more of that CEO experience to kind of take the company to the next level. And so it's just one thing that when I see it, it annoys me because it's like, this guy is doing a terrible job. We're going to push him out the door, and that's the way all these articles kind of paint the picture, and that's not the case. Usually these people have a very good place in their company, and they've are still well respected. So just my little soapbox thing. I actually want to talk about real quick before we go, and I will reach out to both of you guys, Blake and Cynthia, about these partner audiences that Twitter has announced. So this is a story that just broke. Was it today? Today or yesterday? Yeah, it was today. So partner audiences. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but isn't this something like what Facebook allows? What Facebook has?
Yeah, it looks like they're working with different ad exchanges as well. But I digress to.
Well,
yeah, so that's yeah.
It's basically letting you choose your targeting based on user behavior. So if you wanted to go in and an example I'm looking at right now is the consumer packaged goods category, and it breaks it down into beverage buyers, and then it's got people who buy coffee and people who buy K-cups, and then it turns around and it shows an ad for their made-up company, the Barista Bar. So what it's doing is it's going in and it's allowing folks to kind of really narrow down based on some data from third party. I don't know exactly how they collect that data. Like they said that Nestle ran a campaign. I guess they were beta testing it with Butterfinger and their Butterfinger cup minis, and somehow they were able to use these partner groups to. It was actually saying that they were targeting promoted tweets to Twitter users who frequently purchase peanut butter candy in grocery stores. How the heck do they know that? Thinking about it.
Well, Target for one does a lot of spying. Target had an interesting thing that actually Roy shared with me a long time ago. This was like 2 years ago, but they got in some trouble because they were creeping people out because they were
pregnancy
sending that we know you're pregnant stuff sometimes before the person did, just because of buying habits. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I also see in the partner in the little screenshot of the partner audiences, one of them, the DLX Auto powered by Polk, that's the exact same. There's that exact same audience on Facebook. So there's like big data companies, like Axiom was one that Facebook partnered with, and there was another one too. So here we go, Axiom and DataLogix, the exact. So it's the exact same two partners.
Yeah. When I was seeing those, I thought they looked very familiar. So that's just so this is just another case of Twitter stepping up their game a little bit and again following in Facebook's footsteps. This is actually something that Facebook did a long time ago, I believe. But Twitter's making themselves more relevant, more useful as a targeted ad platform.
Yeah.
And actually, it's really interesting to see the but I'm gonna forget her name really quickly. There are people speaking about integrating PPC ads with social ads, and they had the charts. And if I can find the slide share one specifically, the growth that they had by integrating these, these social basically the information from social versus the information within AdWords, and the growth was unbelievable. Where is it? It was from Marketing Mojo. Share that with everyone.
Coming to us.
Oh, got it.
All right. Well, Cynthia's working on that. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to the Twitter comment, the Twitter story?
No, I was just checking out Axiom. They've got, I don't know where they get their data. But yeah, I mean, being a Facebook marketer, I think is cool because it should be very familiar.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, and again, for anybody who's watching and listening right now, this is a story that just broke. We're really just kind of putting our eyes on it for the first time, and kind of digging into it a little bit. But yeah, everything that I'm seeing, it looks a lot like what is available on Facebook. So, kudos to Twitter for again stepping up their game. Letting Facebook do the work and figure out what in the world is working, and then they can kind of follow along in the footsteps. Call them Johnny come lately or whatever it is, but if it's working for them, keep it up, and that just kind of gives us marketers even more tools to work with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to add before we go today?
Yeah, it's Marketing Mojo.
Okay.
Janet Driscoll Miller. So I'll send that on Twitter as well, but her slides were unreal. So when it came to integrating PPC and social advertising, so I'll send that out to everybody.
Cool. Cynthia, can you share out your slide deck from your presentation?
Muted.
Is she talking to us?
Yeah, I think she was.
Waiting.
I'm trying to be polite, and not like type. I will do that right now.
I snuck in and asked you a question when you weren't ready for it.
So I was like, not the best multitasker, but yes, okay. That's
Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, I thought I saw that today, and yeah, the SMX slides were pretty interesting stuff, and it was talking about SEO and social, right? And I definitely think that that's something that our group would really benefit from, and I'll put copies of it in the show notes for anybody else who wants to come check it out. When the show goes live, if you're listening on the podcast later on, you can go to the show notes. It'll be marketingrecap.com/10, the number 10, and you can get all the show notes, links to all these stories and all that fun stuff. And before we go, speaking of the podcast, I want to ask you guys to please take a minute to leave a rating and review for us in iTunes or Stitcher Radio, or both if you really love us. And that helps us to improve the show. That helps us to get listed in other places and helps more people find us and hopefully come and join us on the chat and hang out with us live. So go leave us a rating and review. We really appreciate it. And again, we're going to send out stories for each week. We'll tweet them out. We'll put them in our newsletter. If you want to sign up for our newsletter, you can just simply go to marketingrecap.com/newsletter, and you can sign up. And we don't spam you or anything like that. Just send out an email once a week or so. And that's about it, and let you know what's going on. And with that, I say we're going to wrap up this episode of Marketing Recap, and I'll go around and let you guys tell the folks how they can connect with you and what in the world's going on coming up in your life, anything you want to talk about. So let's start with Blake.
All right. Well, I've been on the Snapchat roll a few weeks in a row, but I'll switch it up and let people know, because actually I'm taking 3 days off social media starting tonight at midnight, 72 hours. I will be checking client accounts, but nothing personal. So if you want to get a hold of me, email me, and you can do that at blake@tnr.com. tinderhacks.com so that I can plug the Tinder hacks.
Plug it. All right, how about you, Cynthia?
Yes. I'm on the Snapchat roll now. No, I'm not. So you can always find me at Cynthia Live on Twitter or Cynthia Johnson on Google+. Email me anytime, cynthia@socialmediaclub.com. And I also want to just give a shout out to one of our listeners, Carlos, for starting to drop some logos for us. Very nice of you, and be in touch to work something out. So thanks
Carlos. All right, and as for me, you can find me on the Twitter. That's what us old people call it. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BJ Smith Strategy. And like I mentioned before, check out my other podcast, the Busy Marketer Podcast. I interview new folks about every week, and they're marketers who are out there fighting the good fight. And it's a lot of fun. Blake and Cynthia have both been guests on the show. And if you know of anybody who would be a good fit for the show, please email me, bj@thebusymarketer.com. If you have any suggestions for this show, any questions, comments, constructive criticism is welcome. Again, feel free to email me. Feel free to tweet to me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys and continuing on next week. Thanks again to everyone who's joined us on the Google Plus Hangout and the hashtag MRCap Twitter chat. Go ahead, mark your calendars for the same time next Thursday. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for joining Marketing Recap, the show that gives you a peek inside the world of digital marketing. Remember to join us next Thursday for the live show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Google Plus or Twitter using hashtag MRCap. And please tell your friends about the show, subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher, and view all episodes and news stories at marketingrecap.com. See you next week.